Welcome to An Alternate Hue. I'm Hugh Anderson, and this is what caught my attention recently. Today we're going to talk bridges, and the first one is possibly a bridge too far. Dutch media report that a 95-year-old steel bridge in Rotterdam will be partially demolished to accommodate Jeff Bezos' 417-foot-long super yacht now under construction at a nearby shipyard. While Mr. Bezos will cover the cost for the temporary facelift to the structure, and city officials noted that there were a lot of jobs created for the city as they were building it, some observers remain miffed. Quote, "Jobs are important, but there are limits with what you can and should do with our industrial heritage," unquote, according to Ton Wesselink, head of the local historical society. And speaking of bridges, remember that wonderful romantic drama, The Bridges of Madison County? I don't. I never saw it. But I hear it's great. Apparently, Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood are lucky they survived the filming of the movie. Filmed in Madison County, Iowa, this locale boasts the highest number of bridges in need of attention. Not to pick on the Hawkeye State, roughly a third of the nation's 620,000 bridges, fully 36%, need major repair work or replacement according to the American Road and Transportation Builders Association. At that rate, it's going to take 30 years to fix all of America's structurally deficient bridges. I suggest we rename Congress's latest infrastructure bill to Build Better Faster. I've been grousing about the Federal Reserve's ham-handed approach to managing the economy since 2008, when they completely went out of bounds and arrogantly exceeded their dual mandate of focusing on inflation and employment. Arguably, even employment is beyond their purview. I recently read a wonderful summary of my lamentations and thought I'd share it with you. This comes from Christopher Leonard, the Lords of Easy Money author. And I quote, "In many important ways, the financial crash of 2008 had never ended. It was a long crash that crippled the economy for years. The problems that caused it went almost entirely unresolved. And this financial crash was compounded by a long crash in the strength of America's democratic institutions. When America relied on the Federal Reserve to address its economic problems, it relied on a deeply flawed tool. All the Fed's money only widened the distance between America's winners and losers and laid the foundation for more instability. This fragile financial system was wrecked by the pandemic, and in response, the Fed created yet more new money, amplifying the earlier distortions. Very flawed, unelected individuals who give new meaning to the word hubris have seen fit to jeopardize one of the greatest, albeit most complicated systems on the planet, and think they can manage it." Unquote. Now, Jeremy Grantham said in a recent piece that the Fed has orchestrated 3 bubbles in the last 25 years, which has led to all the inequities we see around us today. To participate in the upside of an asset bubble, you need to own some assets. And the poor quarter of the public owns almost none of those assets. The top 1%, in contrast, own more than 1/3 of all assets. And we can measure the rapid increase in inequality since 1997, which has left the U.S. as the least equal of all rich countries, and even more shockingly, with the lowest level of economic mobility, which used to be one of our main attributes as a society. This increase in inequality directly subtracts from broad-based consumption because rich people will spend little of or nothing of their additional wealth, where the poorest quartile would spend almost all of it, thereby driving economic activity. So here we are. This time with world record stimulus from the housing bust days, followed up by massive stimulus for COVID. Some of it arguably necessary. So let me leave you with a little piece of Americana when life was simpler. Will Rogers was an American film star and humorist of the 1920s and 30s. Provided what he may have thought was more comprehensive roadmap for sound investing. And he said, "Don't gamble, take all your savings and buy some good stock, and hold it till it goes up. Then sell it. If it don't go up, don't buy it." So that's it for this week. I'm Hugh Anderson. This has been An Alternate Hue. I appreciate you watching. Wish you much health, happiness, and prosperity.